So in our today's class, okay, I would like to welcome you in our online class of Islamiyat 2058, and our main focus will be on the topic of prayer, which is the one of the pillar of Islam. And as I have mentioned in the previous class, that there are several topics which are very much relevant and which are very much important for prayer. Okay, these are how do Muslims they prepare for the prayer, and the congregational prayers, and particularly the congregational prayers on Fridays and Eid prayer. So our today's topic will be on how do Muslims they prepare for the Friday prayer, congregational prayers, and what are its key features. Okay, the key features of the prayer which we perform on Friday, the key features of sermon khutbah, and the difference between Eid prayer and the Friday prayer. That would be the major topic of our major objective of our today's class. So whenever you have a question about how do Muslims they perform Friday prayer, or what are the particular features of the congregational prayers on Friday, the most important thing that you have to start with your answer, that first of all show the importance of Friday. That Friday is one of the blessed day of the week. It is one of the important day for the Muslims because it is the day which has so much importance. It is one of the blessed day for the Muslims. Okay, for every religion there is a specific day for celebration, a specific day for the happiness. For the Muslims, it is Friday on weekly basis. Why it is of so much importance? Because it's some sources mention that it was the day on which Hazrat Adam alayhi Islam has been created, and he has been blessed with the paradise, and it is one of the best day of the week that has been declared by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay, this is also called Sayyidul Ayyam. Okay, Sayyid means chief. Okay, chief, and Ayyam is the plural of Yom. Yom means day, the chief of all the days. So this day has been declared by the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and it is called Sayyidul Ayyam. And some sources even mention that the day of judgment will also occur on this day. What is the importance of Friday? For Christianity, Sunday is very much important. For Jews, Saturday is very much blessed for them. But for Muslims, Allah has blessed them with a day which is called Friday. Why it has so much specific importance? Because a specific prayer is performed in this day. First of all, you have to mention that on whom it is obligatory. Okay, it is obligatory. This why it is so much importance? Because a specific prayer, special prayers are performed in this day, which are called Jummah prayer, or you can say Friday prayer. There is also a verse in the Quran which talks about it. Okay, about this prayer, that oh you believe, when call is proclaimed to prayer on Friday. Okay, on Friday, the day of Friday. Okay, Friday, the day of assembly, Yawm al Jummah, because Jummah means the day of gathering, the day of assembly. It is from Jama. So Jummah, it is called the day of assembly because here in this day, Muslims they gather for the performance of Friday prayer. So after the call to Azan on Friday, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of Allah Almighty. Haste earnestly, मतलब तेजी से, जल्दी से, ठीक है, to the remembrance of Allah. Okay, remembrance here means the prayer. Okay, for the prayer, and leave of business that is best for you if you know. Okay, and when the prayer is finished, when the prayer is over, then may go disperse through the land and seek the bounty of Allah Almighty and celebrate the praises of your Lord. Okay, so that you may prosper. This is the Quranic verse. This is Surah Jummah. These verses are from a particular surah which is called Surah Jummah, which is in the Holy Quran. So there is a specific surah in the Holy Quran which is called Surah Jummah. So in this day, special prayers are performed at the time of Zuhar prayer. So Friday is obligatory. On whom? It is obligatory on Muslims. Okay, adult, sane. Okay, on those Muslims who are adult. Okay, who are sane. Fine. So very old people or sick people. So who are exempted from the performance of Friday? Exemption are for the women, for the children, for the travelers, for the sick people, slaves or captives. You can say captives, those in the bondage or captives. They are exempted from the performance of Friday prayer. So Friday prayer is obligatory on Muslims, adult, sane, fine, those who are free, and uh, uh, means they are, but they must be healthy that they can attend the congregational prayers in mosque. Like in this, so the people who are sick, who are children, minor people, okay, and women, they are also exempted. Sick people, slave captives, they are exempted. So those people who are exempted, they will not attend. Those who cannot attend the Friday prayer, so they will perform Zuhr. Okay, people who are exempted from Friday prayer, what they do, they will perform Zuhr in place of Friday. So Friday, because Friday prayer, it can only be performed in congregation. Okay, that is why there is no qaza for Friday. Instead of Friday, what they will do, they will perform Zuhr. Friday prayer is the replacement of Zuhr. So it is in the replacement of Zuhr. So those who are unable to perform and those who are unable to attend the gathering, congregation, they will perform Zuhr at their homes. Okay, so the women and children and sick and old people and the captives and the slaves, they will perform Zuhr at their home. Okay, it is due to the importance of this prayer, all such activities should be stopped immediately after the azan. Okay, and they must attend, they must gather in the mosque for the performance of these prayers. Okay, how they must prepare themselves. Okay, you must talk about the preparation, how they should prepare for the Friday, what was the Prophet's sunnah and the practice of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. So how they have to prepare? You must mention that it was the Prophet's practice and it is the sunnah that they should do. What they should do, they should perform, they should take bath, clean themselves, perfume themselves, wear the best and the neat clothes, okay, cutting the nails, trimming the hair, wearing the perfume. These are the recommended things that should be done for the performance of Friday prayer. So Muslims, it is recommended that they should take bath. It is the sunnah of the Holy Prophet, because the Prophet peace upon him said, any one of you attending the Friday prayer should take a bath. Okay, because it's a gathering where people have to gather and assemble at one place. Okay, so the other people will not face any difficulty or irritation because of the other people. So they must be clean, healthy, and in a proper attire and dressing. Okay, identify these things, that how the Prophet peace upon him used to prepare himself for the performance of Friday. What is the specific feature of these prayers? That there are two azans. You have to mention that there are how many azans? There are two azans in Friday. Okay, there are two azan, and the one of the most important feature is khutbah. Khutbah is called sermon. Okay, khutbah is delivered in Arabic in a standing position. Okay, you can mention that what is the usual practice amongst the Muslims, that after the first azan, okay, there are two azans. Generally, we have an Urdu speech, or we can say there is a um, teaching. First of all, there in the local language. It may be in Urdu or it may be in any language of that particular area. Afterwards, there is another azan. Okay, the second azan is delivered before the sermon, before khutbah. So there is a difference between khutbah and a speech, address by imam. ओके, दो चीज़ें होती हैं. एक होता है इमाम साहब अपनी एक स्पीच करते हैं जो कि उर्दू में किसी टॉपिक के ऊपर होती है, एंड खुतबा इज इन अरबिक विच इज़ गिवन आफ्टर द सेकंड अजान, एंड it is delivered in a standing position. Imam delivers khutbah from the pulpit. Okay, you will use the word pulpit, or you can use the word member. Okay, you can use this word member. Okay, that because this is an Arabic word also. You can use the word either pulpit. Imam sits on the pulpit. Okay, use this word pulpit, and facing the audience, he delivers the khutbah. The khutbah is in Arabic, and it consists of how many parts? Khutbah consists of two parts, and between these two parts, Imam sits for a while. He sits for a while, he takes a pause. So you have to mention that it is consists of two azans. Okay, after the second azan, there is a khutbah, which is in Arabic. Okay, it must be delivered in Arabic, and it has two portions, two parts. Okay, in the first part, what Imam does, Imam praises Allah Almighty. Okay, he sends blessings on the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and then he advises. He gives advice to the Muslims in the light of the Holy Quran and ahadith of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. So the first part of khutbah, it begins with the glorification of Allah Almighty. So he glorifies Allah and he sends blessings on the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And along with that, Imam advises the Muslims, okay, and he recites some Quranic verses. Okay, it consists of some recitation from the Holy Quran, recitation of the Quranic verses. Okay, there are some verses which are recited in it, and usually he discusses the topic of the time. So uh, it has some portions which were from the time of the Holy Prophet, peace upon him, because usually the imams, the prayer leader, they prefer to use the words which were usually used by the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, because there was no specific particular khutbah. It depends on the occasion. Okay, it depends on the topic. So the teachings were given as per the topic of the as per the topic. If it is related to Ramadan or fasting, so the verses are selected according to that particular topic. If it is related to the sacrifice, so after starting a khutbah in a proper prescribed manner that has been used by the Prophet, peace be upon him, they recite some Quranic verses. Some ahadith of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, are quoted. This is how it was done during the Prophet's lifetime also. And in the second, after this, Imam sits for a while on the pulpit. He takes a pause. Okay, then he again stands again and again starts khutbah with the same particular and prescribed manner, with the glorification of Allah Almighty and sending blessings on the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And in this second part, he discusses and he mentions the names of the companions, the Prophet's family, and uh, he prays for them. He sends blessings on them, and he prays for them. And he also prays for the general welfare of the Muslim Ummah. Okay, he also prays for the general welfare of the Muslim Ummah, Muslims particularly all over the world. Okay, he prays for them. So khutbah is the particular part and it's a particular feature of Friday prayer. And uh, khutbah is sunnah of the Holy Prophet, peace upon him, and listening to khutbah is wajib. To listen to khutbah of Imam is wajib. Okay, it's obligatory to listen it quietly and silently. And during khutbah, talking, walking, praying, and other activities are not allowed. Okay, that is why the Prophet, peace upon him, said that um, if you have said to your uh, to the people sitting next to you to stay quiet. Okay, even if you have said the person sitting next to you to stay quiet while Imam is delivering khutbah, while he is delivering the sermon, you have done an idle talk. Okay, तुमने एक फजूल बात की जब तुमने अपने साथ बैठे हुए शख्स से ये कहा कि to stop talking, ठीक है, to stay quiet. Okay, so because it will also create disturbance in the listening of the other people. All people attending the sermon must sit quietly and listen to the khutbah of Imam quietly, attentively. So this is the importance of khutbah, because khutbah, it has some Quranic verses. It is related something to knowledge. This shows that one of the basic etiquette of learning and gaining knowledge is to stay quiet, okay, and to listen it attentively so that everyone can get benefit from it. Okay, that is why mostly people make all the students mute when they try to deliver their lesson, so that everyone can take benefit from the teaching. So after the khutbah, Imam leads the prayer. Okay, he leads the prayer. 2 rakat are performed in congregation. Imam leads the prayer in 2 rakat prayer, and Two rakat are performed as a normal two rakat. Okay, Imam leads the people in the congregational prayer and he recites and he makes the recitation in a loud voice. Okay, contrary to the Zohar prayer, because in Zohar recitation is made in a low voice, or there is a silent recitation. There is a recitation is done, but it is not loudly. Imam not recites Zohar. In Zohar prayer, Imam does not recite loudly. But in Friday prayer, Imam recites the Quran. He makes the recitation loudly. And Muqtadis. Okay, Muqtadis are the followers. Those who follow the Imam are called Muqtadis. In Friday, two rakat are performed in congregation. Okay, everywhere in uh, in Friday prayer, everywhere two rakat are performed. So altogether, Muslims they first offer four rakat sunnah before the khutbah, and two rakat farz in congregation, and then four sunnah, and then afterwards two sunnah and two nafal. Okay, particularly you have to mention that Imam. Okay, you can further describe that how the congregational prayer is performed. You can mention that first iqamat is called. You can add iqamat is called, and what they do, they rows are straightened. Okay, rows are straightened. They straighten their rows, and afterwards, okay, the two rakat are performed in congregation, in which Imam recites the Quran loudly, and after the completion of Surah Fatiha, Iqamat are the words of Azan which are recited just before the start of prayer. So just before the start of prayer, Iqamat is called. Okay, the words of Azan which are recited just before the start of prayer is called Iqamat. Then the rows are straightened. Imam recites loudly. He makes a recitation of Surah Fatiha. After completing Surah Fatiha, he says Ameen. Okay, Muqtadis also follow him. You can mention that it was the Prophet's practice to recite Surah Al-Ala. Okay, Surah Al-Ala in the first rakat, it was the Prophet's Sunnah. And Surah Al-Ghashiyah. Okay, Surah Al-Ghashiyah in the second rakat of the Friday prayer. So it was the Prophet Muhammad's practice to recite these verses in these prayers. Okay, in the so it was the Holy Prophet's Sunnah. So you can even mention that usually these surahs are recited in the Friday prayer. Surah Al-Ala in the first rakat and Surah Al-Ghashiyah in the second rakat are recited. Okay, so two rakat are performed as a just like a normal prayer, and at the end, when the prayer is over, they make dua, they supplicate to Allah Almighty, because there are chances that prayers and supplications would be accepted, because there would be people there, those who are very much close to Allah Almighty. So this is how that brings a lot of benefit. Okay, so the prayer which are performed in congregation. Yes, we can also mention that sunnahs could be mentioned. You can even mention that it is recommended that Surah Kahf should be recited on this day, because according to the hadith of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, he who recites Surah Al-Kahf every Friday, okay, so he becomes safe from the he becomes safe from Dajjal. Okay, he will remain safe from Dajjal. This could also be identified in our answer, because we had only mentioned the congregational Friday prayer because the question was about that what are the particular features of congregational prayers on Friday. So that is why we only had focused at how they prepare themselves, what is the importance of this day, and on whom it is obligatory, who are exempted from its performance, and the way it is performed. Okay, in if you want to give further more detail, you can describe the method of two rakat prayer. That recitation, Surah Fatiha, and afterwards they say Ameen. They all bow down along with Imam. They must not go ahead of Imam in anything. Okay, they must follow him in everything, in every action. Okay, they must attentively listen to his recitation, attentively and silently. Okay, this is how the way the congregational prayers are performed should be describe. To describe the particular features of the congregational prayers both daily on Fridays and prayer. Okay, so this is one another more question. Okay, what they are asking particularly over here, congregational prayers daily and Friday. Friday we had already discussed, but here we have to add one more thing in our answer. Okay, what is that? That we have to identify that how the daily congregational prayers are offered. Okay, then the rest of the answer will remain same. Okay, so how the daily congregational prayers. So first of all, you have to explain the importance of the congregational prayers for the Muslims. Okay, Muslims, they have been commanded to perform the prayers in congregation. Okay, why Muslims are commanded to pray the prayers, particularly the first prayers in congregation, because only first to be offered in congregation. Nafil are not to be offered in congregation. Okay, and why they have to perform? Because Allah has commanded Muslims and bow down with those who bow to Allah Almighty. Bow down with those who bow down with those. So it shows with those. It's an indication that these prayers should be performed in congregation. Fine. Okay. Then if I pray the dawn prayer in congregation, okay, the dawn prayer means Fajr prayer. If I pray the dawn prayer in congregation, it is more lovable for me than the night vigil and worshipping till morning. Okay, it's better and it's more appealing to me. मतलब यहाँ पे ये कह रहे हैं कि फजर की नमाज जमात से पढ़ना मुझे ज़्यादा पसंदीदा है एज़ कम्पेयर कि मैं पूरी रात इबादत करूँ और उसकी वजह से फजर की नमाज रह जाए कॉन्ग्रीगेशन उसकी. सो इफ़ आई प्रे द डॉन मतलब फजर प्रे इन कॉन्ग्रीगेशन इट इज़ मोर लवेबल फॉर मी देन द नाइट विजिल, रात को जागने से. ठीक है, और सुबह तक. ठीक है, तो इफ़ द पर्सन इज मिसिंग हिज फजर कॉन्ग्रीगेशनल प्रेयर जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, सो इट्स बेटर दैट ही शुड परफॉर्म फजर प्रेयर इन कॉन्ग्रीगेशन. ठीक है, तो ओनली फर्ज, ठीक है, सिर्फ फर्ज रकात पढ़ी जाती हैं. नफल एंड सुन्नास आर परफॉर्म इंडिविजुअली, सिंगली. ठीक है, सिंगली मीन्स अलग अलग, अलहदा अलहदा, इंडिविजुअली. ठीक है, नॉट वन फर्ज, ओनली द फर्ज रकात. ओके, लाइक 2 rakat for the fajr prayer. Okay, so congregation is done only in the first. Those who are attending the mosque, particularly boys, know, they know better. ठीक है, कि मस्जिद में जब जमात होती है तो इट इज़ ओनली ऑफ फर्स्ट प्रेयर and they perform their nafil and sunnah individually, singly. Okay, so one person who becomes an imam, the leader, okay, would constitute, okay, a person with the imam can constitute a congregation. Here you have to identify that even two people can make a congregation. Okay, how two people can make a congregation? You have to describe how, if there are only two people, how they can make a congregation. Okay, one person with the imam would constitute a congregation, even if the other person were a woman or a child. Okay, woman could be his daughter or his wife or a child. So even two people can make a congregation. But if there are only two people performing prayers in congregation, okay, how they will how they will perform? Okay, this is imam, and the other one will stand on the left side of imam. Okay, imam will stand a step forward than the follower. This is how, if there are only two people performing the congregation, they will stand in this way. Imam will stand just a step forward. Okay, just a step forward, uh, uh, then the muqtadi, then the follower. Okay, even they can follow in this, they can perform even they can follow in perform in the same manner. Okay, okay, just a step difference will be sufficient. So if the congregation is of two people, then the follower will be on the right side. Follower will be on the right side of the imam. Okay, this one is the follower, this one is imam. So the follower will be on the right side of the imam. Okay, if the other person join, then muqtadi will move backward in a separate row. In a separate row, he will come in a back, he will come backward in a separate row. Either muqtadi will move backward or otherwise imam will move forward if there is a space in front. So If third person joins the prayer, the Imam will move forward. Either Imam will move forward or Muqtadi will move backward, not sideways. Okay, either forward or backward. They will make a step during the prayer. Okay, it's like they can move in a proper way, that not too much fast, very smoothly they can move, and they can make a separate row. Fine. They will stand behind the Imam. Okay, just behind the Imam they will stand and they will make a row. This is how they can perform their prayers. If there are only women, okay, that's what about the two people. If there are two people in the congregation, now if there are only women, although women should not lead the congregational prayer, but if they want to make a congregation only women, then the one who is leading them should stand in between them, not in a separate row, but in the same row. But I step forward. I step forward, not in a separate row, but in a step. I step forward. If women form a congregation, then the woman who leads stands in the middle. Okay, if they are in odd number. Odd number means two here, two here. Okay, and one their leader. तो देयर इज ऑड नंबर. ठीक है, तो अगर एक यहाँ पे ऐड हो रहा है, एक यहाँ पे ऐड हो रहा है, अगेन इट्स अ ऑड नंबर. ठीक है, तो क्या है कि इफ दे विल देयर लीडर, देयर द वन हु इज लीडिंग देम विल स्टैंड इन द मिडल. If the number of women is even, then more women will be on the right side, and ठीक है, there will be more women on the right side of the imam. Some school of thought do not allow women to lead a prayer in any case. Okay, again I'm explaining that if there are only the congregation of women, so the one who is leading them should stand in the middle. She should stand in the same row in which the other women are also standing. They will not. अदरवाइज वैसे क्या होता है, जब कॉन्ग्रीगेशनल प्रेयर होती है कि रोज़ बनी हुई होती हैं, इस तरीके से रोज़ बनी होती हैं, एंड इमाम स्टैंड्स इन अ सेपरेट रो. आगे एक अलग रो में खड़ा होता है इमाम. ठीक है, एंड देयर आर द रोज बिहाइंड द इमाम. बट इफ देयर आर ओनली वुमेन, तो देयर लीडर विल स्टैंड ऑल्सो इन द सेम रो. ओके, इज दिस क्लियर ईशाल? आई होप इट इज क्लियर नाउ. ठीक है, इफ देयर आर द नंबर ऑफ वुमेन इन ऑड नंबर, ठीक है, तो इफ दे आर ऑड नंबर तो इमाम देयर लीडर विल बी इन द मिडल. ठीक है, दरमियान में. और अगर इवन नंबर में लोग हैं वहाँ पे नमाज में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, तो द मोर वुमेन विल बी ऑन द राइट साइड एंड लेस ऑन द left side. This is how this congregation is made, and the best person among them will lead the prayer. You have to further add that if there are um, men, women, children, and so many people there performing the prayers in congregation, first there will be the row for the men, then the children, and then the woman at the back in the last. This is how the rows would be formed. Okay, if there is a second row, then the second row will always start from the middle. Okay, then it must go smoothly on both sides. Okay, so this is the proper method of joining the congregational prayer. We have to look at where are less people, so the on which side there are less people. So the side on which the people are less, we should join the congregation on that side, so that the rows will become equal and balanced. Fine. So always the new row will start from the middle, from behind the imam. Okay, always. Yes. So I hope it is clear now. So if there are men, children, and women, first there will be the rows for the men, then the rows for the children, and then at the end there will be the row for the women also. This is how, these are the features of the congregational prayers daily and on Friday. Yes, in any case, rows will always start from the middle. Yes, but there will be separate. Men and women can perform their prayers in congregation in the mosque, but their rows will be separate. And the better way is that if there would be a separate place in the mosque where women can attend the congregational prayer, that would be better. Like if there is a basement or if there is a separate floor for them where they can gather and assemble. Okay, so that would be more better. Separate room or place or a floor for them. So while making and joining a row, we have to see that on which side there are less people. So we must join on the side where there are less people, so that rows must go on smoothly and equally on both sides. Okay, like we can take an example, like if one row is now complete, a new person comes, so he will stand here. If another person joins, he will stand here. Now here there are more people here, so other person, the third person will join on the left side. In the same way, this is how the rows will be made complete in this way. Okay, so that there will be balance on each side, and this is how usually the rows are completed in the congregational prayers in the mosque. I hope it is clear and there is no further need to discuss it anymore. If you have any problem, you can ask me separately. So this is how the congregation should be made. Okay, if the women form a congregation, I told you the reason, and some school of thought they do not consider and they do not allow the woman to lead a prayer in any case, because it is the task and it is the post for the men that they should lead, and women must follow them. So the best person to lead the prayer is the one who is well versed in the Quran. Who have more knowledge about the Quran, Quranic verses, ahadith of the Holy Prophet, method of prayer. Okay, and this is how the person who is the best reciter, the best pronunciation, the more knowledge about Quran and the particular uh, problems related to the prayer. So that person is suitable to lead the Muslim in the congregational prayer. Hmm. So yes, according to some scholars, women can only lead the women, but even some school of thought they even do not allow the woman even not to lead the women also. Okay, make it clear. So before the congregation starts, what is that? What is done? Rows are straightened. First, they straighten their rows. The gaps are filled. They stand shoulder to shoulder. Okay, side by side. Okay, without leaving any gap in between them. That is why the Prophet peace upon him used to say before the start of the prayer, straighten your rows, otherwise Allah will create dissension among you, differences among you, ikhtilafat, okay, differences among you, dissension among you. So this is one of the reasons that why there are so much differences amongst the Muslims, that they do not make their rows straight, they do not fill up the gaps. Okay, they keep maintain the distance between them. So it is important that they must fill up the gaps and they must stand close to one another without leaving any gap for shaitan, for iblis to come inside them and to come in between them. So these gaps must be filled up and the rows should be made very much straight. Prophet peace upon him used to take great care of this thing. And after this, iqama. I told you what iqama is. Iqama is recited. Iqama is made. The words of azan are repeated. And what they do, they make the intention for the prayer, and afterwards they perform their prayers in a proper way. Okay, what they have to do, the follower must follow the imam in everything. Okay, the follower must not go ahead of imam. Okay, he must wait for the command of imam, and he must do whatever imam is doing. So iqamat are the words of azan. Okay, they are same except for one sentence which is additional, which is qad qamatis salah, that prayer is about to begin. Rest of the words are same. The only difference between azan and iqamat is that there is only just one additional sentence in iqamat. That additional sentence is qad qamatis salah, that prayer is about to begin. Prayer is about to begin. And the another difference between azan and iqamat is that azan is recited very loudly and slowly in a slow pace, while iqamat is recited and announced loudly but a little bit fast. Okay, in a normal pace, not in a slow pace. This is the only difference between azan and iqamat. So the one who delivers the azan, usually he repeats the words of iqamat. He recites the words of iqamat before the start of prayer, and then imam leads the congregation. Okay, the prayers are performed in a proper way, in a prescribed manner. Okay, the muqtadis, the follower, must follow the imam in everything. Okay, and he should wait for the command of the imam, announcement from the imam, and they must not perform anything before him. They must not go ahead of imam. Yes, iqamat could be recited in speakers. Okay, it can be recited in speakers, but inside the speakers of inside the mosque, not the outside the mosque. Outside speakers are not used because iqamat is to tell the people gathered in the mosque that they must assemble them and stand in their rows so that the congregation could begin. Yes, prayer. The iqamat is to tell us that prayer is now going to start. The congregation is starting soon. Okay, so that is why iqamat is called. Azan is called to gather the people in the mosque, and the iqamat is called to gather and assemble the people for the congregation inside the mosque. Okay, is this clear? So they just so Imam when he starts the prayer, Muqtadi they recite just Sana. Okay, and they listen to the recitation of Imam. Imam recites Surah Fatiha and a Surah. They listen to the recitation of Imam silently, and Muqtadi they recite the other things silently in a low voice without any voice. And if they had missed any rakat, they have to complete it at the end of the prayer. When Imam complete his prayer, at the end, the follower who had missed their rakat must complete it. Okay, you can even mention that Imam will recite Surah Fatiha loudly, and when he will end Surah Fatiha, Imam will say Ameen. Okay, and Muqtadi will also say Ameen. And you can mention that whoever's Ameen coincides with the Ameen of Imam, whoever's Ameen coincides with the Ameen of Imam, okay, coincides with the Ameen with the Ameen of Imam, his past sins will be forgiven. Okay, this is the as per the reward because at that time angels they also say Ameen. So because their Ameen will also coincide with the Ameen of angels. That is why that is the reward for the people who perform their prayers in congregation. So whoever's Ameen coincides with the Ameen of Imam, his past sins would be forgiven. Because when Imam says Ameen, angels they also say Ameen. Okay, and their Ameen will join with the Ameen of angels, and that will be the reward that they will get by these congregational prayers. You can briefly mention, but there is no need to describe that how the way they should complete their leftover rakat, because here we just have to mention that if in any case they had missed any rakat, they have to complete it after the completion of prayer. When Imam will complete their prayer, they will complete their prayer singly, okay, individually, okay, without having any other Imam for them to complete. And we already talked about the Friday prayer in detail. So I hope that you must understand that what are the particular features of Friday and also the particular features of congregational prayers both daily and Friday. Again, there is another question: describe the particular features of Friday congregational prayer and the main features of the Friday sermon. We had talked about in detail about these two things in our today's class. And then there are some B part questions related to the B part, that how these congregational prayers help and are very much important for our community. And what is the prayer purpose of prayer in congregation? Because it brings a lot of benefit in the Muslim's life, like unity, brotherhood, equality, and prayers which are performed in congregation are 27 times more in reward as compared to which are performed individually. These are the benefits of performing these prayers in congregation. In another hadith of the Holy Prophet, peace upon him, he has declared that whoever has performed Isha prayer and Fajr prayer in congregation, so he gets the reward. Okay, like whoever has performed Isha prayer in congregation, he gets the reward standing half a night in prayer. And whoever performed Fajr prayer in congregation, he gets a reward a full night in prayer. This is such a great reward of performing these prayers in congregation. Such blessings have been mentioned by the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. So that was for the topic of the congregational prayer. both daily and on Friday. We will discuss the Eid prayer in detail in our next session, and it will also be recorded and shared with you people.